Welcome to the Adult Basic Skills Professional Development video series. Throughout our productions, we are committed to excellence in adult education and professional development in basic skills instruction. The goal of this video series is to improve the effectiveness and quality of instruction through focused professional development.
The primary purpose of this video is to provide guidance for trainers who are planning or leading their first workshop. The ideas and information presented will be informative for the experienced workshop leader. We will cover guidelines for organizing, structuring, and evaluating professional development workshops. In particular, we will discuss the participatory workshop model of professional development. This model actively involves participants in learning and sharing information. The participatory workshop model tends to create an environment where participants feel free to ask questions and enter into discussions. This model encourages participants to think about what they are teaching and their method of instruction. Participants have an opportunity to experience and reflect on new approaches to learning and teaching. They are more likely to appreciate their value when they experience new activities and methods for themselves. Only then will they put new strategies into practice with their own students. Interacting with others during the workshop provides the opportunity to build on experiences. Participants recognize common problems and issues. As they explore possible solutions, participants solicit the reactions of peers and refine their own ideas. Another benefit is the confidence they gain when their ideas are well received by other professionals. Hearing many ideas and approaches used by colleagues provides a new knowledge base of strategies. Instructors gain insights into a variety of techniques. Participants can choose and tailor the methods most suited to their styles, students, and specific situations. This video is divided into 4 parts: planning the workshop, planning the presentation, planning the evaluation, and myths about professional development through workshops. Planning the workshop. Work with a partner. If at all possible, share the planning and presentation of the workshop with one or more colleagues. Bouncing ideas off one another raises the quality of the final product. Combining ideas and resources of 2 or more people almost always reduces the number of major oversights and complications. The quality of the workshop is usually enhanced by the combining of the best thoughts of 2 or more people. Remember the old saying, 2 heads are better than 1. In case of an emergency, a co-presenter knows the workshop and can cover effectively. A team requires that each member supports the others for the success of the workshop. While one person is facilitating, the other can assist with routine tasks such as organizing equipment and distributing handouts. Since there are 2 presenters to observe reactions, assist participants, and evaluate issues, each presenter is free to concentrate on conducting specific sessions. Co-presenters must establish an atmosphere where they feel free to make comments. Their mutual support contributes to a lively, natural, and productive session. The value of working in a team becomes even more evident after the workshop. During the evaluation process, partners share reactions, giving each other valuable feedback. They identify successes and problems to be considered when planning the next workshop. Even when reading and discussing workshop evaluations, having more than one perspective allows better understanding of the intent of participants' comments. Define your participants. Carefully define your target group. The experience and prior knowledge of workshop participants are major considerations. Worthwhile workshop activities are determined only after one knows the audience. For example, if the target group is mainly literacy teachers and a numeracy workshop is being planned, a session dealing with math anxiety is advisable. Participants with limited background require more time for setting the stage than normally anticipated. Evaluating the target group helps to anticipate this problem and adjust for maximum effectiveness. Select your topic. Begin topic selection by identifying the overall goals of the workshop. What is the long-range application or expected results of the workshop? Will it be a general introduction? Will it have a more specific focus? For example, will it be a workshop on learning disabilities in general, or will it be a workshop that addresses the dyslexic student? Once the goal is carefully and thoroughly defined, determine the specific objectives to be obtained. Next, outline the workshop by selecting topics and subtopics that meet the goal and objectives. Estimate the number of participants. Think about the possible number of participants interested in a workshop with the goal and objectives you have selected. Small working groups almost always provide better learning experiences. Decide if large groups can be divided into subgroups. Then decide if there is a minimum number necessary to achieve the workshop goal. What is a reasonable number of participants to expect? When organizing and conducting the first workshop, keep it small. The experience gained from a small workshop will be invaluable when planning and conducting larger workshops. Usually, there is a maximum workshop size dictated by various resources, including facilities, maximum cost, and number of available workshop leaders. What chance is there that more than the maximum number will register for the workshop? Decide on a time and place. When deciding on a time and place, the first consideration is how long it should take to accomplish the objectives by adequately covering the essential workshop topics. If the required time exceeds 2 hours, decide how maximum learning will occur. Would it be better to have one long workshop or a series of shorter ones? Before choosing the series format, consider the schedules of potential participants. How many participants would be able to attend each session? On the other hand, consider the maximum time block participants can give. Of course, all decisions must be made in light of the relative cost of the options. Consider, can participants be expected to pay for a retreat workshop at a distant location? Are there other sources of funding to cover expenses? Will a distant location provide a better learning environment by reducing distractions and interruptions? Will the gain be significant, making the approach cost-effective? If an off-campus location is desirable, explore possibilities. Does the facility meet the needs of the program as outlined? Will participants be comfortable? How reasonable is it to expect participants to remain focused in that environment for a given length of time? The best location and format may depend on the month or even week chosen for the workshop. Therefore, make decisions about when the workshop will be offered in conjunction with other decisions. Consider, will it be necessary to repeat the workshop in a different location, at a different time, or for a different audience? These decisions will, of course, impact the other decisions about time and place. Publicize. The timing of publicity can make or break a workshop. Participants need to know about the workshop early enough to plan or rearrange schedules and complete the registration process. However, don't send information too far in advance. When information arrives a long time prior to the workshop, it is more likely to get lost or be shifted to the bottom of a paper pile. Take time to produce brochures and flyers that are eye-catching, attractive, and friendly. Print on a distinctive color so the information will be less likely to get lost on a cluttered desk. However, select a color that will photocopy clearly. Recipients can then share the information with others. Register. Both you and prospective participants need a clear understanding of how registration will work. The advance publicity should clearly describe the registration procedure. After preparing the registration information and prior to distribution, reread it several times. Have all the important details been included? Topic, date, time, place, cost? This is another instance where working with someone else can help prevent major oversights. Even when phone registrations are not accepted, there should be the opportunity for prospects to call to get more information. If you do accept phone registrations, prepare a form asking for all data needed from the caller. Have an information sheet close at hand for answering anticipated questions. Put into place a mechanism to register only the established number of participants. Larger workshops can be overbooked by as much as 20%. There will be last-minute emergencies and cancellations. A planner cannot feel as secure about overbooking a small workshop. In case of cancellations, maintaining a waiting list is a good idea. Planning the presentation. Choose activities. Use a variety of activities. This is important for two reasons. Most participants maintain interest for a longer period of time when exposed to a variety of activities. And since learning styles differ, arranging for variety in the workshop increases the chance that everyone will benefit. Balance listening and talking activities. Model activities and then include as many opportunities to practice skills as possible. The participatory workshop goes beyond the normal workshop lectures and group discussions. Activities such as brainstorming, case studies, demonstrations, in-basket activities, role-playing, and/or simulation should be considered for inclusion. These types of activities provide for practice and feedback. Participants gain increased motivation to continue study and a sense of ownership, relevancy, and success. Also, use activities that can be easily adapted for classroom use. Participants want to learn things they can use in their own classrooms. The most valuable workshops are those which offer opportunities to learn about and practice concrete ideas and easily applied techniques. At least, they receive the best evaluations. Plan workshop schedule. When planning the workshop schedule, include an adequate number of breaks. Although it is tempting to try to condense as much as possible into a smaller time frame, this often is counterproductive. Participants suffering from information overload negate the value of the workshop. It might be desirable to include free time so participants can return to the workshop activities refreshed and invigorated. And remember, many participants look forward to and count on an opportunity for networking with their colleagues. One key to a successful workshop is the development of a workable schedule. It is especially important to start and finish on time. However, have enough flexibility to adjust for the needs of the participants. It may be necessary to sacrifice an activity if one session has generated so much participation that there is an obvious need to extend the exchange. For example, rushing people who are not confident with mathematics or writing only adds to anxiety, thereby defeating the purpose of the workshop. Remember that taking time to build confidence and skills is very important. Hurrying through the program may confuse or alienate participants. It is important to maintain a schedule, but equally important to provide adequate flexibility to adjust for the unexpected. Make sure your own detailed plan identifies allotted time for each activity. General guesses about the length of time appropriate for a broad activity are seldom accurate. Facilitate the workshop. A good facilitator keeps people on task. Introductions are brief, but outline what is to be accomplished and the techniques for doing so. Remember, the presenter's attitude sets the tone for the workshop. Create a relaxed atmosphere. Serve as a timekeeper by tactfully returning participants back to the task at hand and keeping them aware of what needs to be done. Make smooth transitions between activities. At the end of each session, provide closure. Ask the participants to summarize the activity. Remember to recognize efforts and enhance feelings of accomplishment. Planning the evaluation. Why evaluate? There are many reasons for doing a thorough evaluation of the workshop. Workshop evaluations may be necessary for continued funding or gaining administrative support. Thorough evaluations provide documentation of planning efforts and event success. While these reasons are important, the most important reason for evaluating is to help determine how to structure future workshops. What form of evaluation? Plan for evaluation as the objectives are written. Leave adequate time for participants to complete the evaluation. Asking them to send evaluations later usually results in incomplete evaluations and low response rates. When participants give immediate feedback, they are more likely to include their responses to every aspect of the session. Ask for specific information on what was learned and how it will be applied. Feeling effective data is of limited value. A Likert scale, items on a 1 to 6 scale, is often used. Specifying the meaning of each rating makes it easier to summarize evaluations and complete summary reports because medians and ranges can be determined. This method also ensures feedback on specific objectives or presentation issues. However, open-ended responses often give more accurate information. Allowing participants to write comments in response to general questions gives more freedom to identify issues that were important to them. Consider a combination of Likert scale questions and open-ended questions when planning the evaluation form. Regardless of which evaluation method is selected, create a simple, short instrument. Plan the questions carefully. Too often, workshop leaders realize from reading evaluation responses that their questions were not specific enough to obtain information that they really needed or wanted. Also, test the instrument with several people before using it. Refine the instrument as often as necessary. Think about how the data will be analyzed and the time required to do an adequate analysis. In some cases, you may want to do a before and after questionnaire in an attempt to determine how much understanding participants gained from the workshop. This format allows the presenter to gauge the expectations of participants before the workshop, then determine the extent to which those expectations were met. Summarizing the data. Counting favorable versus unfavorable evaluations is helpful, but percentages should be considered in light of response rate. If a large number of participants choose not to respond to a specific item, that might reflect the workshop's failure to adequately address a particular issue. However, you usually can't be sure those participants had a less than favorable reaction to that item. The evaluation summary should be prepared immediately after the workshop. The longer the delay, the less accurate the report. Even the process of reading and summarizing comments can be affected by failure to remember specific events or raters' attitudes. Don't focus on low responses. Consider them constructively. Ask, how can this concern be addressed? The presenters should also evaluate the workshop, making notes as soon as possible of their reactions and observations and discussing these reactions and observations with other planners and presenters. Joint reactions should be the basis for planning future workshops. Communicate the results of the evaluations to both the participants and the administration. The participants have a stake in the process. The administration will be interested in these initial measurements, so keep them informed. Plan for follow-up. The best indicator of success is utilization of information and ideas gleaned from the workshop. How will planners know if the workshop participants put their ideas into practice? Consider a follow-up meeting or questionnaire to find out what actions and/or improvements can be attributed to the workshop. Myths about professional development training workshops. Myth number 1, training is a single event. The truth is, preparing a workshop requires extensive and detailed planning over a long period of time. The training does not end when the workshop ends. Both workshop evaluations and follow-up activities will extend long beyond the initial workshop. Myth number 2, training is a workshop experience. In most cases, the bulk of the training occurs after the workshop. The best training occurs when participants implement techniques and strategies gained from the workshop into their own classroom. Myth number 3, great workshop materials ensure successful workshops. Great materials will not make up for ineffective use of materials or poor delivery. Materials can contribute to successful training, but they are only one piece of the puzzle. Myth number 4, effective trainers produce effective training. Not necessarily so. What if the trainer is using outdated material? What if the trainer is teaching a skill that's too technical? Suppose the trainees already know what they're being taught. Does successful training depend only upon the skill of the trainer? Clearly no. It depends on the planning. Myth number 5, when evaluation is complete, training ends. Should you gauge the success of the workshop solely on the evaluations? The evaluations may answer questions like, did the participants enjoy the program? Or did they learn from it? But training must go beyond. Have the workshop participants applied their new skills on the job? Has the training affected the program in a positive manner? Are the ideas and strategies being used in the classroom? How will you ensure lasting impact without proper follow-through? In summary, the most important step of the entire workshop process is the planning. Work with a partner or a team. Know your target group. Select a topic. Decide on the optimum number of participants. Then decide on a time and place. Advertise the workshop. Register participants. Carefully choose a variety of activities. Keep participants interested and meet their different learning styles. Plan a workable yet flexible schedule for the workshop. Always start and finish on time. Share responsibilities, including facilitating. Remember, the facilitator's job is to set the tone and keep participants actively involved. Leave adequate time for participants to complete evaluations. Summarize evaluations soon after the workshop. And most of all, enjoy and have fun as you plan, present, and evaluate your workshop.